Hey yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk. Welcome back, everybody, and thanks for tuning into World of Tanks. We have today Spud Tuber. Spud Tuber is back in his 60 TP. The Big Lewinsky. No, Lebowski. Lewinsky, wait a minute. The Big Lewinsky, right? She had a rug stolen by Clinton. Is that what happened? And Steve Buscemi died, I think, in that movie. And I believe, what else happened? Roseanne's husband was involved somehow, wasn't he? Something like that. Anyway, we have Spud Tuber. He's in his 60 TP, tier 10. What is this thing? Czech heavy tank, right? Is it? I don't know. Yes, Lewinsky. Sounds Czech. No, it's not. It's Polish. The Big Lewinsky. This is a Polish tier 10 heavy tank. Enough of the preliminaries. Here we are. We are in battle. We have an Emil 2, a Super Conqueror. We have Miss Lewinsky, driven by Spud Tuber, 4502 and an E100. And the enemy brings quite a bit as well. We've got a couple Mauschens. We're going to pop out here and get a little bit unlucky with a bounce. And then a little bit lucky that the T95 doesn't quite get his gun on, or at least didn't like the shot and didn't take it. Artillery, there is one artillery on each side, and we're over here on this heavy brawling zone of Redshire, spawned into the north. And I think this is exactly where Spud needs to be. This is a great tank for this spot. I recently featured a video of me playing this tank, and a very similar kind of situation is going to happen right here, where Spud's going to be allowed to sort of just pick at people for a while and drop a lot of damage. The nice thing about this gun is it's a 750 alpha gun. So Spud grabs this rock. I like this rock for side scraping type events. He's going to shoot right into the weak spot of the Mauschen. But he eats a big 745 shot back from the T95. And then he looks at his turret and says, how was I pinned? And, oh, thank you, right on the top of the turret. So, a bit lucky. Don't know if the T95 actually aimed for that. If he did, good on him. And now we've got a 50 TP, which is the Tier 9 version of the Polish heavy tank. Similar to the one that Spud is driving, but not obviously quite as capable. And doesn't have the 750 gun. We're going to try another shot into a Mauschen, but we bounce. I'll tell you what, man. I think I had pressed 2 a while ago right here. Myself, it was just enough armor over there to chew through, and you're starting to lose a little bit. Emil's nearly dead. I think I definitely would have pushed 2, but let's see how Spud does otherwise. This has a pretty good result. Spud does a nice job here overall in this game, but we'll get to the end and we'll talk about what happens at the end, so we'll leave you a little bit in suspense right here. So he keeps working it. The T95 really is kind of anchoring anyone getting too aggressive coming around the corner. Now watch this. He's going to go right after that weak spot. Boom. Drop 782 into the 50 TP. And that's only our second damage. This was interesting to me that you kept backing up. You got to bounce off the 50 TP. I might have driven forward and angled and tried to get behind the rock, at least make that shot a little more difficult. But it worked out for you. And then I saw the Super Conqueror go around the corner. I thought, all right, this is it. This is the big finish. We're going to make this happen. Bounce off the bottom, the Super Conqueror gets absolutely wrecked and just dies. Really for no good result. I don't know if he even got a shot. He may have put one into the Mauschen, but we're in big trouble here now. There's only 3 of us, and there's a Skoda in the back, and there's a bunch of them. Now, a couple, 2 at least, are one-shots. That's a good thing. So they're not too interested in leading the charge, although to be quite honest, one of them should, and the rest of them come around and finish you off. But we're going to go ahead and sneak one maybe one more time into a weak spot. There goes one of the one-shots. Nicely done. Good choice of weak spot to take on, and we are using the heat now, so good. We're no longer too worried about that. Big shot goes into the T95, and the mouse is coming around, then we eat 545 from Artie. Holy cow. I can't get my T95 to do 545 to anybody, but good on him. Put a big hit onto Spud. Now the Mouse is getting a bit sandwiched, but he does have some backup. And look what the T50 did. Came around there and really gave Spud and his team a little bit of breathing room to deal with this Mouse. But interestingly, Spud's team hasn't got around the corner to make this guy go away. Finally, the E100 pushes past, puts a big hit on him, and Spud's able to finish him off, and that's what needed to happen there. Unfortunately, the T50 dies for his efforts, but he took down the 4502 on the enemy team and kept the T95 busy enough that they could then gang tackle the E100, and we've got a 7-6 game. So Spud's gone over to the east side, where I think is probably the best spot he could have. He's going to miss his shot right here, unfortunately. Might have taken that a little earlier myself, but it looked like you were trying to aim it in nice. And went where he needed to, did a good job in here, and now we've got to decide what to do. And this is where this game gets interesting, and this is also where players kind of lose the bubble and stop figuring out or have a hard time figuring out what to do. That was nicely done on the weak spot. What I mean by that is you've won your flank, now what? I think a lot of average to good players can get to a flank and do pretty well. And a lot of times they'll win that flank. And when they win that flank, they don't have a good idea of what to do. And what you're going to see Spud do is he's just going to turn around. And that's a good plan here. Why? Because on this flank, this is a bunch of open area. Just driving across it's going to get you killed. The enemy still owns this hill. There's no reason to go down here anyway. You need to flex back to where your guns are and help these guys clean some of these dudes up. Looks like the enemy has won very slightly, but basically won over here on the west side. So Spud's going to come all the way back around and try to help these guys out. Right now he's got a scout, but he won't for very much longer. A scout in this portion, on this map, in this portion of the game is incredibly valuable. And there he goes. He gets nuked by the T-92. And that is unfortunate. So the objects here, and the VK, for his part, decides not to do anything. The Udez 16 is up forward. He's a bit active. And you might have noticed that in chat they were a little bit irritated by the T-5041, who appears to have stayed in the corner the whole time. Whether he was pushed up earlier and then fell back there, I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention to it. Down goes the Udez 16, and we're essentially down to one active player. We have a TD, we have a Sturv that's been camping the spot, the TD spot the entire game, and then we have Spud Tuber, and we have a VK who doesn't really have any idea what to do. He's just kind of hanging out on the flank he won. Hoping, I don't know what, hoping somebody shows up to shoot, I would imagine. The enemy team has at least an active T-55A who looks like he's probably trying to figure out where the Sturv is and give his team this center. Unfortunately for him, what he doesn't realize is Spud's actually flexed all the way back. This came up a little while ago. Somebody was talking about, I think in reference to the T-95, and granted the T-95 is slower, but there's this idea that my tank is too slow to change flanks. Well, it can be slow, and it may take a while to change a flank, but you can certainly change flanks even in slow tanks, especially when you're talking mid to late game, when all you got to do is start driving. Right? If the 4502 had moved with Spud, he'd already be over here as well, and he'd have more guns together. Right now he's just peeking. All he's really asking for is to get spotted and to get nuked by the T-92. There's no need to poke around corners on big fields you have no intention of driving across, letting yourself get lit and whittled down by T-92 HMCs. That is just not a good idea. And because Spud came back here, he was able to deal with a medium that was pushing in here and potentially was going to start lighting up his backfield and end this game. So at this point, you can tell Spud's essentially trying to figure out what the heck to do. Now, one of the Sturv 103s, there's two of them, there's a tier 10 and a tier 9, is being active as moved over that way. So he ends up finding the VK 4502 Bravo, whatever the heck that thing is. He gets shot at a couple times and then he bails off. Got a standard B, a patent, and an object, and basically the enemy team has a huge advantage over Spud's. All the vision in the world compared to Spud's team, minus maybe the 103, if it can get settled in and it's got either optics or a binocular. But Spud's going to move along here. This is a decent approach. He's looking for that 430 that was down that low area. He can at least protect himself from most shots, and then we get the Sturv 103B. Now, Spud sent me the note here and said, hey, this is a bit of a heartbreaker at the end, so I'm giving away some of the ending here for you. And he said, well, you know, I'm not really sure. There's a couple things maybe I could have done. What do you think? So we're going to take a look at that. I think the first one, Spud, here is maybe a little bit more aggression, trying to get rid of this 103B. I see what you're doing. You're falling back. You don't want to expose yourself. If you do crest right there, you may take shots from multiple directions. But the problem you have right now is a vision problem. The enemy has vision all over you. And anytime one of theirs is lit up and you have a chance to maybe go take it down a little bit without obviously just YOLOing and dying, you need to try to look into doing that, because once they go dark, they go back to the advantage. But he backs up right here, being a little more cautious. And all of a sudden we find the other Sturv. And this is a good thing right here. We find that Sturv up there. He's making a runner. Somehow the 4502 hasn't taken a whole lot of hits. He gets tracked by Spud Sturv, and he puts another big hit on him for 804. Then we find the 103B. We find the tier 10 version right here in the middle. Good news is the 5041 has moved up, but he's kind of alone and unafraid, and he's getting absolutely massacred. He does take down the standard B, but he eats a lot of shots. He had pretty good hit points, and he just ends up dying to 103B. And this is a good plan right here, Spud. This is what I was talking about earlier. Probably a better situation for you to go get him. There's the Patton there. You two both rage in here, and we take him down. And then from here, the same discussion, I think. I would have gone straight up and over this hill. That Patton's backing away. Maybe if I know he stays there and he's aiming in, I wouldn't just drive up and over. But I would be making a beeline for this guy because he's lit. I would really love for him to not go dark. And we're a little bit more cautious here, I think, than I would be. And granted, I hear you. There's a Sturv out there who could hit you in the side. There's a 430 on the other side. Those were the last known spots. So you could have, had you just come straight up and over and been lit by the Patton, taking shots from two different sides. But this is a situation, I think, where maybe a little bit more aggression was warranted. Still, not bad. The 4502 has kept himself alive. The Sturv is backing you up. I'm not really sure where he's going. There's you and an artillery. And I can see this whole time, you know, it's a bit of a bummer. You're in a heavy tank, and you're thinking, well, geez, I have to do everything here. You know, nobody else is doing anything. When the one medium I had left did something, he pretty much just YOLO'd in and died. So it was not really helpful for anyone. I think this is the right idea. Just go get this dude. Man, I would have actually gone straight down. I'd have just gone straight at him, killed him, maybe even used him as a shield, depending on which way the shots were coming from. Backing up for me is not a great idea because it's just so slow. I understand what you're doing. You don't want to get sandwiched, but look, you're highlighted this whole time. Why not just dive off of this? And if there are shots coming from over here, at least you've got some cover down low in this area. Let's see how it ends up working out for you. You do take a little bit of damage from the HMC. The 430 bounces 2 shots, and you know where he is relatively. He's over there. All right, fantastic. So he's no longer over by the castle. He's actually flexed back to his 103-0 buddy, more than likely. And that was smart on his part. So the 4502... all of a sudden, it's so awesome, looks to be abandoning the very point that he's been holding the entire game. While you were just about to start lighting guys up, he's actually leaving the spot where he could get some shots. Incredible. And he may be actually working the top of the ridge right there, and it looks like he is. So he's trying to get himself in position. The 103-0 is moving in, and here you go. And all of a sudden we have the 430. He's down there in the pit. Shot goes into him, and we get another shot into him, and down he goes, but we get lit, and that's kind of unfortunate. So, all right, where's that 103? All of a sudden, holy cow, he's actually also over there. He's actually also over there, and it takes us a while to realize that. We turn towards him, boom, we get a big hit. T-92 is clearly over on the west side, and then we're stunned, and we're trying to drive into this ridiculous sandy bottom here. We take a shot, and man, I think I might have gone to HE right here. I might have gone to HE. You block the first one, that's good. He should not be able to one-shot you. And this is a bummer here because watch how early this guy shoots Spud. I don't know if he's blind shooting him or what. Let's see if he actually gets lit right after the guy shoots. But he takes a hit, and it takes a while before Spud is able to actually see this guy. Boom. Shot right into him. Yep, he did see him. And look how long it takes him to finally spot the stupid Sturv. He's got such good camo. And we kind of go right in there. I think maybe if you'd have aimed, and I think you mentioned it actually on your note, but aim in here on this weak spot, you might have had a chance. Also, I'd have just kept going at him. Maybe I could get beside him. You end up backing up, and boom. Those things reload so fast. He takes a hit, takes another hit. He actually ends up dying. Where'd he go? Yep, he's trying to make a runner, and he dies. Which, I'll be honest, I don't know how he died. No, he didn't. There he is. Thought he died. So he's goofing around. He's going to end up dying here in just a moment. And then watch this, guys. This is fantastic. We're going to speed this up. I'm going to ride along. I think eventually he rides along with the Sturv. There we go. So the 4502 gets on cap, which isn't going to do anything. And the 103 is coming in. We've got artillery reloaded, and we're going to come over here. We should get stunned and then get a shot. And oh, dude. 103 gets nuked. The HMC doesn't take enough damage from the 261 to die, and it's a draw. Oh, dude. I don't know, Spud. The answer to your question, as far as I'm concerned, maybe a little more aggression earlier on. You talked about the approach to the 103. I mentioned a couple things you could have done there that might have helped you. That was a really close one. Nice job, though. 6,000 something damage. And, you put your carry pants on, and the team is just like rocks in your pocket, man. A bunch of rocks in your pocket. The guys over on your side in the brawl did an okay job. You did enough to win. The 4502 abandoned all hope for a large portion of the game. You flexed all the way back, trying to make something happen. And, through force of will, got yourself into a winnable position, and then your team ends up letting you down at the end game. And a couple decisions where maybe you could have turned the tide there. But overall, thanks, man. It was a good example of being an active player versus a passive player, and how just a couple of those little decisions along the way can make all the difference between a draw and a win, man. Nice job overall. Thanks for sending in. Everybody else, thanks for your support of the channel, and we will see you.